Hey everyone, I think today we might have found one of the best things on the market so far for the 8-gang switches. We see tons of those that you have for aux power or aux beam. You have Nightlight and multiple other companies. But the one thing that they've kind of did that no one else has done, or something I found that no one else has done, besides a company called Trigger, which, I mean, if you got, I think they're like $400 for their switch panel, is wireless. All of them still have a wire that runs inside the vehicle. So you're still drilling a hole into your vehicle. Granted, it's one single hole and it's a pretty small hole, but it's still a hole. This company, Povtor, has an 8-gang switch panel, just like aux beams and Nightlight and multiple other companies out there. The difference is these guys have a 100% wireless up to 160 feet range for it. Stay tuned, check this thing out, get my opinion at the very end of what I think of these things so far, and we'll go from there. Alright, so let's check this thing out. So 8-gang universal switch panel. So over voltage protection, it has the input 5 volts. It's 12 to 24 volts. So you can kind of see all the stuff right there. I'll give you a nice little look of everything in the box. Pretty heavy, so let's see what we got inside here. Okay, so it's a Povtor brand. There's your little ID card or warranty card. So pretty nice. It actually has customer support with emails and whatnot. You don't see that too often in some of this Amazon stuff. Here comes all of your different things you can put on for your switch. So you're good to go on that part there. Instructions, which is always nice. Comes with different brackets. Looks like it comes with the panel, the actual control box, some different brackets for the control box, different brackets for the panel, USB charger, because this one, unlike aux beam and Nightlight, this one here actually has the wireless, so there's no wires going from there to here. So it'll have to be charged every once in a while. Your battery cables, more cables, the breaker, and of course the stickers are already seen. So here's our instructions, if I can get you guys a good view here. I dig it so far, looks like good quality. Protection there. Alright, so here's all the goodies. So let's see what we got. This is probably going to be that control box. Alright, let's see what we got here. Make sure you guys can see this. So this does fit really tight. So the nice thing here, right, is we got extra fuses, little fuse holder, which is really nice because you don't get those too often. Even in cars. It does look like it's all sealed up, like it has that gel coat over it. So it is supposed to be, I think, IP68, so looks like it's definitely that, I would say. You have the little LED lights. I don't know if you guys can see those down inside there, but they're down in there. Anyways, those are for, I'm guessing if a fuse goes bad, you'll see it. These are going to go from 10 amps to 20 amps to 30 amps, so you can definitely run some bigger stuff on here, which is nice. Power, ground. This is ACC, so I'm going to guess this is an auxiliary, so you could have this so it only powers up when the ignition wire is turned on, but we'll have to see. I don't know for sure on that one what that is. But like I said, pretty good quality stuff. Of course, it has all the relays already built into it, so you don't have to worry about anything there. So we'll set these off to the side. Alright, so let's see what we got here. This is the coolest part. This is why I wanted this one on it. So this one actually is all, like I said, completely wireless. Has the charging port there. Looks like it uses USB-C, which is nice. So unlike the other ones that you would see a lot of times, your other box you have over here, it has to go to in the engine compartment, and then there's usually a wire that still has to be punched through if you know to drill through your firewall. This, I don't have to drill any holes through my firewall, or if I'm camping and then I'm in a tent, I can turn any light I want on from a tent, or according to them, up to 350 feet away. I think it was 350 feet. Somewhere there was a good distance. We'll look it up later, and I'll put it on the screen, and you'll be able to see. And we'll probably test it once the weather turns nicer too. So not this video, but another one. We'll test the distance. Okay. Let's see. What do we got over on this side? Okay, so this is going to be your breaker, which is nice. So 60 amp breaker, not a fuse. The nice thing about that, of course, is that if you pop a fuse, you're going to buy a new one. These, you just reset it. So it would pop, and then you would reset it. Some two-sided tape. Not really sure what that's for, but the instructions will show us, I'm sure. 2 brackets. I'm going to guess probably for the controller. So you probably mount this, I'm guessing, to a vehicle in your dash somewhere. Probably some bolts for this. These two mount together. And then if you want, you can actually mount that to it, which would be nice. They even throw in a screwdriver, which is kind of nice. So you can't go wrong there, right? USB cable, so that's going to be for charging this, because obviously without wires it has to have some way of charging, and it's USB-C, so good chance you probably have something in your car ready to charge this in case you forget to bring this with you. Looks like a good amount of zip ties here, so you can make sure everything's nice and secured up. I'm sure we'll go through more of those and a lot more. Let's see. So this is going to be a fuse wire. So you would connect this. This would connect into your fuse box. So this is going to be for the accessory port, I would guess, but I don't know. So we'll have to figure out what that's for. Let's see here. All right. So that looks like it would go in the accessory port. Once again, not 100% sure what this is for, so we'll just have to figure that part out. So we have 2 power cables and a ground. Of course, the ground is going to go straight from the battery, wherever your ground source is, right to the box. These two here, one of these is going to go from the battery to the breaker, from the breaker onto the box, or vice versa, I guess, wherever you want to put it. So you could have longer, shorter, or the other way around. So, and they're hefty. Do they say what size? I don't know if I got that where you can see it on there. It does not tell me how big that cable is. 10 millimeter. So, not sure what gauge that is. I'm sure some of you probably know. Leave it in the comments. Here's your hardware. So there's going to be all the different screws. Screw the box down, screw the controller down. Another screwdriver / Allen wrench. A backup fuse, which probably goes into this, would be my guess. So it's 5 amp. Here's a little bracket of some sort. Okay, look at that, we got surprises underneath. So these, holy cow. I don't know if that's really showing on there, but that's 3/16-ish. I mean, craziness right there. And this, so this would be so you can mount it to your engine bay. And then the control box mounts on top. I think they do. So that's pretty cool. I did not expect it to be that heavy of metal. I mean, there's, well, a lot of skid plates aren't even that thick, especially on the Subaru side. So, I mean, we definitely can't go wrong there. All right, so now it's gonna be time just to install this stuff. I am very impressed for this. I think this retails for 120-ish on Amazon. The once again, the brand of this is Povtor. Povtor. Um, so really cool right there. The company's been really, really nice so far when I've asked them a few questions on it. So now we'll get to the install. Thanks. Alright, hopefully that heater's not too loud there. So this is the bracket that it comes with. I've showed you. There's the top piece, and then there was the thinner piece right here that was underneath of it. As you can see, and I get some pictures I'll load here in a second, that I actually kind of modified this a little bit to make it fit. But it says right there, fits kind of in the edge right here in the hood. So it's not going to be any issues unless it's set. Just about like that. So it's going to look pretty nice right down there for the next step. Alright, so here's kind of the quick rundown of this wireless switch setup. So you're going to get two wires. One's going to go to the battery, one will go to then to the switch. This is going to be your breaker. So in case you end up with too much power going through, pops itself. All you do is reset it back. You're going to get your second one. One of them is longer. You can choose which one you want. I have this one where I don't really need very long for either one of them, to be honest. Of course, it comes into here as a spot for positive, negative. So it's just like the red wires, but it's the black that's going to go to your negative side. You're going to have a trigger wire. I guess best way I can describe it. They kind of mentioned about this going to, in the instructions, going to a 12 volt ignition wire fuse in the fuse panel, which if you have an Outback 2020 and above, I went into here. I can show you in a second on that. Instead, though, I ended up putting this to straight 12 volt all the time power, because I like the idea that I can just turn this on anytime I want. So if I'm in a campsite and I hear something kind of crawling around at night, I can flip the lights on from away from the car. I don't need to walk over and turn the car on, then turn it on. You're going to have your 8 different setups here. So all your fuses. They do have the hot and ground wire, which is cool. So you have all your wires just go to this. You don't have any extra wires from the battery. And as you can see, everything is labeled. You have 10 amp, 20 amp, and 30 amp to go through there. I just have ditch lights currently. I'll be adding some more. But I went ahead and put them on 2 separate circuits. You don't really need to do this. I just did it because I have all these extras, so why not, so I can show some more. Alright, so this part is only going to apply if you have a 2020 and above Outback or Legacy, or might say Subaru, because I don't know if the fuse panels are the same on the others. So Cross-Track Forester might be the same, I don't know, I just know the Outbacks for sure. So this is going to be that trigger wire that's coming in. You can run this to a 12 volt ignition switch or 12 volt constant. Plus and minuses to both. If you do it to a 12 volt ignition switch, then it will only work, so it'll only trigger that if the power is turned on to the vehicle. But at the same point, you don't ever have to worry about it running the battery down for whatever reason. If you run it to a 12 volt constant, meaning it goes straight to the power and it's live all the time, it could, if something was to short out and turn on, or a light was to get flipped on, it could stay on the whole time, which in turn would run the battery down. But I like the idea also that if you wanted to go to a tent and take this, or to somewhere other than in the vehicle while it's running, you could use the remote and turn this on at any time. You wouldn't have to go to the vehicle and start it first. And for me, this is going to be an idea of camping. So if we hear a sound in the middle of the night, I can hit the button from the tent, whether that's a rooftop tent or a ground tent, then I can be able to turn this on. I don't need to climb in the vehicle and push the start button to get it power on first before I turn the lights on. So for me, I found a 12 volt constant. It is in the, let's see, this back row closest to the firewall. There was a 10 amp that was sitting in there that goes to the, what was it here? Here, it's upside down. MB, so this one right here, this MB-B or M8-8, I'm not sure which. It's a 10 amp. It is powered all the time. I did notice that this DCM one here also is powered all the time. I just didn't have a 7.5 amp, because the other thing too is this takes the more of the, I guess, the blade style or the mini blade styles. And Subaru, of course, has their fancy little, like tiny little micro fuse box or fuses. So I didn't have anything that would fit the 7.5, but I did have some 10s running around, because this does not take the small ones like Subaru's. This takes the bigger one. So you could use it if you had a 7.5 amp. Otherwise, just put it on the 10 amp or whatever you happen to have. There is also a 30. I think right there, the green one is a 30. And then there's some others along here too. I think the 10 amp back here was also powered. I did try this one here, the empty slot, but it unfortunately is too close to this, and there is this rib around. As you can see, it actually bent a little bit right there because it was too tight, and you can see this is bent a little bit. So there's not enough room to put it right there. So just a heads up, unless might be able to put it in there and then face it that way. I never tried that, so maybe that's the way to go. But here's an option. So now I'll show you how it works on the inside. Alright, so for me, kind of hard to see because of the zoom on the lens, I guess, for this. But I ended up putting the switch panel right up here in the dash. I liked it because it was out of the way. I'll show a picture here in a second so you can see. So I found a cell phone holder. It does not come with the kit, obviously, but you can find yourself anything similar to this. And then I slightly modified this one. So you can take it off, which is why I like it. There's no wires to the inside of this vehicle to control this. But what I did here, so that's one of those magnetic ones. And then I just ended up hot gluing a washer to the backside. So now it sticks to the cool little cell phone charger that's there. So all I gotta do then, I set down here and it's there. And I mean, I can be off-roading all I want and that thing's not going anywhere, which is what I kind of like. I dig that. All right, so now we darkened it a little bit, as you can see. Now the thing I like about it is all I gotta do is hit the button, panel comes on, lights come on. You can control things individually. Like I said, I got a lot more lights coming, but as of right now, this is what I got. So I can say, I can do that. So then I can run a ditch light just on the side. The passenger side doesn't affect oncoming traffic. I can turn that one off, just the other one on. And turn both on. This also has the what they call a momentary switch, which is basically kind of like a horn. So you would hit the button once and it would just run as long as you hit the button. And there's also a strobe feature, which I might put onto these just because they're individually connected. So why not someone on the trail maybe? Another cool part, I can turn it off And then when I turn it back on, it remembers the last thing that was on. At the same point, if I turn these off, turn it back on, nothing's on until I choose to turn it on. So, another handy thing about that, I dig that part. And once again, I'm outside the vehicle, and I can turn this on and off. So I definitely dig that part there. And that's off of the switch panel that's out here. Now, as you can see, I don't have any stickers on this. This thing does come with a whole ton of stickers here. That was the garage heater kicking on there, so hopefully you can still hear me fine. So it comes with all these different ones that you can run with. Once I figure out which I'm going to run and what lights are going to go where, then I'm actually going to end up taking these stickers and put them on where they belong. For right now, I'm just going to memorize where they go. Here was kind of what I had left over, because you don't necessarily need all the parts. So, two-sided tape apparently is so that you can stick the control box if you wanted to. Like I said, I did the whole washer with a magnet, so I like that better. Once again, also here is the two mounting brackets. I don't really see a point of those, so I'm not going to run those any reasons whatsoever. I got, of course, that there, but I'll end up using some of those in the future. These are to mount the mounts for the control box part, but or I guess the relay part box underneath the hood, whatever you want to call that. But as you can see, and also some pictures on there, that I actually took the original steel brackets that they gave me, modified those, and made like really good system for that. And then of course I have several of these zip ties, which is always nice, and I'll use those for sure. So as you've seen, the kit comes with a pretty substantial amount of supplies into it. The hardware is fairly decent. The brackets are very strong, surprisingly. I mean, those things were like 3/16 thick. That comes with multiple brackets for both parts, for the controller and for the control box. So the controller is in the remote inside, and then control box is the part outside that does all this actual work. So really good there. Comes with a nice 60 amp breaker, which felt nice and solid. 8 gauge power wires. Once again, pretty hefty power wires. I've had a chance to play with this thing for a week so far now, roughly about 2 weeks. I am completely blown away by this. It is something that I definitely will be running in the vehicle for the time being. The only thing I think we've seen so far that's been bad with it, if anything at all, is the kids have been using it, because that's the nice thing is with this is it's just a driver's thing. You can pass the remote around. So we've been running the ditch lights on the street on some like back roads, but as you've seen in the video, since I don't have any other lights here yet, I have them actually set on two separate circuits. So the left one is on one circuit, right one's on another. So the nice thing is while we're driving, I can turn off, if I meet a car, I can turn off the driver's side. Doesn't blind the oncoming traffic. But then you have the passenger side still doing its job, shining out, catching deer, whatever it might happen to see inside on the side of the road there. The kids, being kids as they are, decided to try to make this thing strobe fairly quickly. And it does seem to get very confused on that. And you have to turn it off and turn it back on the remote, and then it seems to work fine. But it will get to the point where you can turn the remote off and like everything stays on. So it does take a little bit there. But like I said, it was just pretty much them just being kids playing with the buttons, pushing them really fast, and I'm going to guess confusing the remote. Past that, in a normal everyday situation, I have not had a single problem with this thing. I'm very happy with it. I definitely can't wait to get more lights put onto it, and I definitely see some potential. I will probably try to get another one to add to the wife's vehicle if we add more stuff to hers. But the coolest part is this thing is 8 gains, just like his aux beams, for 100 and... well, original price is like $129. On sales, I don't think I've seen them at the original price. Most of the time on sales, I've been seeing these things for the $116 to $120 mark. Phenomenal product. I can't speak highly enough about it. The company has been very active when I've asked them questions. Like there was one question I had, asked them, there's an accessory switch, which is the ignition switch for it. So that, and that's the way it's labeled. And I asked, hey, can I run this also on 12 volts constant? Because for me, that's going to work better for what I want. And maybe for some of you out there. Within just hours, they replied and told me, yes, it can be for either one. So I'm very happy with that part. So these guys have been so far, very, like I said, active on getting back and whatnot. Very happy with the product. I definitely would suggest using this in the future. Go ahead and get your ones. I might try to put a link to Amazon down in the bottom. If you see more videos you guys would like to see, more things you'd like to change with this channel, obviously leave a comment, let me know. I do reply to all the comments at this point. So thank you very much.